Hello everyone, my name is Aditya Murkar and I am from Indian Institute of Management, Tiruchirappalli. I would like to talk about a very important topic today. This concerns the rural e-commerce and India's last mile delivery that I believe affects all of us. While rural India represents a massive consumer frontier, it is highly dispersed and the delivery costs are almost 3 to 5 times, rendering logistics quite unprofitable. There is a digital convergence. Rapid proliferation of affordable smartphones has narrowed the digital divide, bringing internet subscribers to 407 million alongside 534 million rural telephone subscribers. There is also an urban economic equation. There is fulfillment and high population density, which allows single executives to execute dozens of orders, minimizing marginal costs. Rural demand is highly scattered across expensive geographies, forcing delivery agents to travel up to 20 kilometers for low ticket items, reducing economies of scale, and thus the margin has also significantly reduced. Here are some of the statistics that I have found out through research. However, there is a replication of direct to doorstep courier models in rural districts, and it has failed systematically due to deficient infrastructure and an unmapped geographical reality. Here is the flow of the rural delivery. First, the delivery starts at a regional hub, then it travels through a national highway, and then it goes through a tertiary road, and finally, it goes on to the last mile navigation. Here, the stage 3 and stage 4 are among the most expensive phases of the delivery. Here, the friction is introduced, the roads are unpaved, there is inconsistent terrain, and this gives high capacity delivery vans also a huge problem. There is also the rural reality of word of mouth navigation. Google Maps or other maps applications that we generally use may not be reliable when you reach the rural side of India. There is also inefficient resource allocation. People are deployed without much training, and this also causes a significant problem. Next, there is a pervasive trust deficit which drives 70% reliance on cash on delivery, forcing logistics network to operate on high risk cash transporters while the compounding return on origin loses. This is a significant problem. When you pay upfront, there is a certain risk that is reduced for the vendors such as Amazon and Flipkart. But when there is cash on delivery, you may not know whether the customer is going to pay, whether the product you are delivering is going to be handed over. This significantly increases costs. There is also a logistical risk. Modern e commerce delivery networks are considered very high risk for cash collection services. COD orders suffer from notoriously high return to origin rates. This means that certain items are checked on the spot and returned if they are not as per the customer requirements. This causes even more uh, margin losses and costs to increase. However, there is a silver lining to this problem. Here's a solution that I have come up. uh, we can transition to a decentralized phygital model which leverages vast existing community assets to convert prohibitive fixed logistic costs into viable variable gig income. We can resolve the paradox, pivoting away from the capital expenditure heavy direct to doorstep model toward a decentralized physical plus digital fulfillment strategy. This strategy works like pooling bulk deliveries at district level nodal points, utilizing the vast existing footprint of India Post and Common Service Centers. Then, the final delivery leg is contracted to deeply embedded local shopkeepers and kirana stores whose community knowledge instantly bypasses the unmapped address problem. This localized handoff eliminates the fixed employment costs of traditional courier fleets, converting logistic expenses into per package payouts. This causes a structured margin, and this provides you a certain level of loyalty and certain level of reduction in the variability in your margins. Here is a diagram how it works. First, it starts with the bulk fulfillment center, then it goes on to the district hubs, and then it goes to the local kirana shops, which we recently mentioned. There is also the infrastructure of UPI available in India, and also there is something called as ONDC, which is coming up, which is the government's competition to networks such as Zomato and Swiggy. Here are some of the pillars that this strategy can work on. UPI is something that has penetrated all over India. So we can use something such as mandatory open box deliveries and physical verification when you do COD using UPI. Then, using the geography of open source digital addressing, which is given by Google, it can help you even with the unmapped addresses that are not certainly available on traditional maps. The third pillar is democratization. We can use networks such as ONDC, which is a local third party, which allows local third party FPOs to plug into the national grid, breaking monopolies. Thus, here is the final roadmap that I would like to recommend. In the first 1 to 3 years, we can aggressively scale to Kirana stores and implement the open box UPI system. We can also establish, once it is 3 to 5 years, on the ONDC system and secure FPOs. And there is also a improvement in our orders that can be seen. Then, on the 5 to 7 years, the total economic inclusion of this entire plan may be realized once we follow these exact steps. And hence, this is my presentation for the problem of the last mile rural India economic problem that we face. Thank you.